Hello and welcome. This is going to be a playthrough video of Terajoules, a one-player game designed by Amos Kendall, Carrie Ross, and Kevin Preval, with art and graphic design by Kevin Preval. To start, we have a few more pieces of setup to do. I'm going to take the 4 standard climate mitigation projects, the ones with the white backgrounds, shuffle them up and place 3 in the climate mitigation portion of the board and remove the other one from the game. It won't be used. Next, the exact same thing with the custom projects, the colored backgrounds. Shuffle them, place 1 on each of the eco neighborhoods, and I will remove the other 2 from the game. They won't be used. Finally, I'm going to take an oil refinery, commercial district, a coal mine, and a residential neighborhood. Shuffle those, place them in the lower left corner of the city map. And with that, there's just one step remaining. That is to take my starting deck of cards, which is 7 coal and 3 oil cards. Shuffle them, and now I am ready to begin the game. The game starts with me taking my first turn. A turn is to draw 4 cards from your deck, and then you may play up to 3 and you must discard the rest. So I have drawn 3 coal cards, 1 oil card, and when I play them, I can process the raw resources from this resource type and convert it into energy. So I will start by playing an oil card, and playing an oil card means that I can take one of my oil resource cubes and then convert it to energy based off of the power ratio in my production facility. So to start, 1 oil cube equals 2 terajoules. A terajoule is a yellow energy cube. So I have used that. Anytime you use coal or oil, processing that raw resource generates pollution, and so for every raw resource cube that you process, you must increase your pollution marker. So I've now updated my pollution marker by 1. I have 3 cards left. They're all coal. I will play coal as the second portion of my turn. So here I take 1 coal resource cube, and that is converted into 1 energy cube. And because this was coal, it generates pollution. The pollution marker has now landed on, the pollution token has now landed on the pollution threshold marker. Anytime that happens, whenever we land on this, we have now created enough pollution to impact the ozone. We need to update the advance the token on the ozone hole track. So I will advance this 1, and because it is advancing to a spot with a temperature icon, this means that the hole in the ozone is now impacting the temperature of my city. So since I've landed on that spot, I will now update the temperature token by 1. I can play 1 more card if I choose. I will. I'm going to play 1 coal card and do this all again. So convert 1 coal cube into 1 more energy cube and advance the pollution threshold token back to the start. You never advance the token past the marker. Okay, and then I must discard my final card. So to conclude the first turn, I have to decide what to do with my energy cubes. I've generated 4 energy cubes that have made it into the power generator. I can now send them into my city if I'd like, or as you can see, there are 4 storage slots in the power generator where you can keep energy cubes from turn to turn and across years. I'm going to store all 4. The reason I'm doing this is because anytime you send cubes from the generator through the grid into your city, you lose 1 cube due to general inefficiencies. So you'd like to be efficient about how frequently you send cubes through. So the idea is I will not have to lose 2 cubes on 2 subsequent turns. And that concludes turn 1. For turn 2, I will draw 4 more cards. And again, I can play up to 3, and I must discard the rest. So this time I've drawn 2 oil and 2 coal. I will start by playing one of my oils. So I take my oil cube. I can convert that into 2 terajoules, and I will increase my pollution threshold marker by 1. I can do the same thing again. So I can take my final oil resource cube. I can convert it into 2 more terajoules, and I will increase the pollution token back to the pollution marker, which means I update my hole in the ozone layer one more time. And now this time I am going to choose to discard both of my remaining coals because I'm going to try to limit the amount of pollution that I'm causing for my city. So I'm going to discard these 2. And now that I have 8 terajoules in my power generator, if I chose to just store like we did the previous turn, I would lose all 4 of these back to the supply. So instead I'm going to send power through the power grid, energy cubes through the power grid. So I'm going to lose 1 to that general inefficiency. And now I can power my coal mine for the year, my commercial district for the year, my residential district for the year, and my oil refinery for the year. I have 3 more, and anytime that you have 3 cubes that have gone through the power grid, you can sell those to neighboring cities for 1 money. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to place 1 cube here in my goods bank to indicate that I have 1 additional money from selling to my neighbors. And that concludes turn 2. I do not have enough cards to take another turn. Whenever you have less than 4 cards to draw from, the year is over. And so next we will go through the year-end steps. The far left of the game board lists all of the steps that you take at the end of the year. You can move the token to each tile so you don't forget anything. First, we need to draw a marble from the disaster bowl. You start the game with 11 neutral marbles. For this game, though, they are yellow. In the rulebook, they're white. And 1 earthquake marble. The earthquake marble represents the risks from fracking for my existing oil refinery. So at the end of the year, you always start by drawing a marble. If you draw a disaster, then you have to resolve effects, so we'll see that at some point, I'm sure. If you draw a neutral, you have no disasters for the year. Regardless of which one you draw, you place that marble on the calendar track, so we can see that we're now concluding the first year of the game. Next, you check to see if you've won the game. So if you've fully powered 15 active neighborhoods in your city, then you have won the game. And by fully powered, I mean you have provided a terajoule for the year. And by active, I mean the yellow side is up at the top. We haven't won yet, so I'll keep going. Next, you check the calendar. If you have a disaster marble or a neutral marble filling every single slot, then you've run out of time and you've lost the game. This was just the end of the first year, so we can continue on. Next, if you failed to provide power to any of your neighborhoods, you mark them as dilapidated. We made it. We were able to power all 4 of our existing neighborhoods, so we do not have to do that. Next, you earn the rewards for all of your neighborhoods that you've powered. So if you power a coal mine that's active, you generate 1 additional coal resource to use for the rest of the game, or you can use it in the next year. If you power a commercial district, then you get 1 money good. A residential subdivision, then you get labor. And an oil refinery, then you get 2 oil resource cubes that you can take advantage of in the next year. You can see as I was earning the reward for each powered neighborhood, I was removing the energy cube because you start off every year without any power for your city. had we had any dilapidated neighborhoods, so they had been turned to the dilapidated side, the gray bar, and we had powered them, then the reward, as opposed to the actual good, the reward is that you activate them for the following year. That doesn't apply to us, so we can move on. And now we can spend the goods. With the goods that we have this year, so 1 labor and 2 money, we can look at the market and determine what we'd like to buy. In white is the cost, in the gray box is what you can actually purchase. So what makes sense to me is to spend 1 labor and 1 money to build another neighborhood. And I am going to build another commercial district. I want more money in the future. So I'm going to spend these to build. You can see we've got a number of open tiles because we eventually need to have 15 spots filled. I can build this wherever I want with a few parameters. First, you always have to build on top of an active neighborhood. So I can't just choose up here. I've got to go the lowest possible on top of an active neighborhood. Secondly, there are 3 different zoned areas in the game, here, here, and here. You can put any neighborhood type in there, but they must match with each other. So the only thing that I can build in that spot is another oil refinery. So I'm going to go here to avoid some of these icons, which we'll talk about later in the game, which are all building challenges that make the game more complicated. And then finally, I have 1 money left. I'm going to buy a card. I'm going to build out my deck. I'm going to return that to the supply, and I'm going to buy atomic. So now I'll be able to create atomic energy for the following year, potentially. So those are all my goods. I can now move on to the lose unused labor and technology step. Labor, if you don't employ your labor, they find work elsewhere. Technology, if you don't take advantage of it, it becomes outdated and obsolete. So these do not persist from year to year, and you lose any unspent goods. Money does persist, so you can retain money and keep it from year to year. We don't have anything to lose, so we can move on to the next step. Reset the water level. We haven't touched water yet, so we can get into that later. Shuffle the cards and reset the deck. So I take my cards, which now has an atomic option in there. I shuffle them up, and it is now time to begin the next year. So I will move my year-end token back to the top in preparation for next year. And now I've got my shuffled deck, and I can start turn 1 of year 2. So this will look similar to what we've seen. I will draw 4 cards. I can play up to 3. I am going to play both of my oil cards. I'll play them 1 at a time. So I will turn 1 oil resource into 2 terajoules. I can remove this. This was my inefficiency from last time. And that increases the pollution token. We'll do the same thing again. This is my last oil resource that I have for the year. Create 2 more terajoules and increase the pollution token by 1 again. And I'm going to discard both of these as opposed to playing them, and that way I can store all of the energy that I've created, and I do not have to lose any energy, and I don't have to generate more pollution. So I now draw 4 more cards for turn 2. There is my atomic. I don't have any more oil cubes that I can actually process, so this is not a worthwhile card for me. So this will be the one that I discard. I'm going to play the atomic, and atomic production looks slightly different. You don't need raw resource cubes. You can see our tile here is just on a single card play. So on a given card play, I get 3 terajoules, which is highly efficient, but anytime you play it, you have to increase the nuclear use token on your game board. I don't actually have one out here, so I'm just going to steal this guy. You can see that the nuclear use track will quickly add a lot of disaster marbles to the bag, representing a nuclear explosion from an over-reliance on atomic energy. So for now, it's very good because I can get energy quickly and easily, but it's not something that you want to rely on for the entire game. Okay, and I think I want to avoid polluting. So I'm going to discard both of these, and that'll be the end of my turn. I now have to decide what to do with these. Obviously, I'm going to send them through, so I'll lose 1 to the grid. Now I can power everything else in my neighborhood, every neighborhood in my city, excuse me, and then I'll leave this one in storage so I don't end up losing it. And that will actually conclude year 2 because I don't have enough cards to take another turn. But I have fully powered all of the neighborhoods in my city, so I will not risk any dilapidation. And I didn't add any new disaster marbles to the disaster bowl. So I'm now choosing, and I have a 1 in 11 chance of having a disaster. Okay, I ran and got another tracker, so now I can follow the year-end steps in turn. So the first thing we do is draw from that disaster bowl where we have a 1 in 11 chance of an earthquake. Not this time, so we place it on the calendar track. That is saying that we're through year 2 here. Check for city power, we have not won yet. Check the calendar, we have not lost yet. We do not need to dilapidate any neighborhoods because we powered all 5 of the neighborhoods in our city. So now we can earn the rewards. So this commercial district earned us 1 money. This coal mine gave us 1 coal resource. This commercial district gave us 1 money. This labor, a residential neighborhood, gave us 1 labor. And then this oil refinery gave us 2 oil resource cubes. So we have now earned all of our rewards. We do not have any dilapidated neighborhoods that we need to activate, so we can spend our goods. Exact same as the end of year 1. We earned 1 labor, 2 money, even though we did it in a slightly different way this time. So we need to decide what to spend our goods on. I am going to build an oil refinery. We ran out of oil resource cubes last year, so we couldn't actually take advantage of all of our cards, and we have to build one here no matter what anyways. So I'm going to build an oil refinery with 1 labor and 1 money here. Anytime you build an oil refinery, once again you risk fracking. So I do have to add another disaster marble, an earthquake disaster marble, to the bowl in order to build. So I will place it here, and then just so I don't forget, in case I ever build any more, I'm going to place this guy on top of there. Okay, and then with our final money, again, I do think I'm gonna buy another card, because if I buy another card, then I'll be up to 12 cards and I'll actually get 3 turns in a year. Right now we're doing 2 turns and we're burying 3 cards. If I buy another one, we'll have 12 cards and we'll get 3 turns and we'll see every card that we have. So I'm going to spend the money here to buy a card, and I'm gonna buy a hydro card this time, and we can talk about what that means when we get to it. So I do not have any goods that I need to lose. We haven't touched the water level yet, so it is time to shuffle our cards, reset the deck, and begin year 3 of our game. All right, year 3, we have 6 neighborhoods that we need to provide power for, but we also are going to take 3 turns instead of 2 turns this time because we have 12 cards in our deck. So I will draw 4 cards, and I am going to do an oil play. So I will get 2 terajoules. And I will have to increase my pollution, which means I will have to increase my ozone, and I will have to increase my temperature. And I have now landed next to a disaster marble on my temperature track, which means I'm risking wildfires because the temperature of my city is rising. So I will add that to the disaster bowl for later. I'm going to do it again with another oil. Again, I will increase my pollution token. I will get 2 terajoules, and I'm going to play a coal as well because I have 5 energy cubes in here, so I'm definitely sending them through, so I want to maximize how many cubes I can send through. So I'm going to play that coal, increase my pollution 1 as I move that coal and turn it into 1 terajoule. And then I must discard my 4th card. So since I have enough cubes to send through, I will put 1 in the grid, and then I will begin powering. You can choose which neighborhoods to power when. I'm confident I'll be able to power everything, so that's why I was just placing them seemingly at random. But if you are not confident, you can choose which neighborhoods to power and which ones to dilapidate. So for my second turn, draw 4 more cards. I am going to avoid playing any of the coal cards, so I'm just going to discard all of these. And I'm going to play my nuclear card once. On a single card play, I get 3 terajoules. And, oh, we can get rid of that one. And then because I did that, I have to up my nuclear use. And then because I've upped my nuclear use, I've landed next to a nuclear explosion marble, which I will add to the disaster bowl. And now here I get I'm going to choose to store all of these as opposed to send them through because I only have 3. And here I get my 3rd turn of the year. So I don't have any oil that I can play. And here is the hydro card. When you play a hydro card, you take resource cubes directly from the water level. You can see to start, you would take 2 cubes and you would generate 1 terajoule from that. So I'm going to do that. And you actually remove these from the game for the year. If you remember, we will reset the water level every year. So there are no negative consequences to playing the renewable energy card hydro. You just have to have enough water to actually turn it into energy. So we basically just got a free energy cube, no pollution or anything like that. I am going to play 1 coal card, take 1 coal cube, get 1 more terajoule. It is going to increase pollution, which will increase the ozone again, but it gives me 5 here, and then I have to discard this. It gives me 5 here, which will be beneficial because I will lose 1 to the grid. I will be able to power that final oil refinery, so I've now powered all the neighborhoods in my city, and the real reason I did that is because now I have 3 energy cubes that I can sell to a neighboring city to gain 1 money. And so at the conclusion of year 3, I have now powered all the neighborhoods in my city and I've earned 1 extra money, but I've got 4 disaster marbles in the bag, so my chance of drawing a disaster is increasing, not only as I do things and I'm adding marbles, but as time increases and I'm pulling out neutral marbles. So we should most likely see some disasters coming up that will make this game a little bit more complicated. Okay, so it is time to start the year-end stats for year 3, beginning with pulling from that disaster bowl. And I pulled an earthquake. Okay. So again, no matter what type of marble you pull, you add it to the calendar track. When you pull a colored marble, you need to resolve the consequences. This portion of the board reminds you what the consequences are. When you pull an earthquake, you immediately remove a oil refinery. So we had all these big plans to get 4 oil resource cubes. We can no longer do so because we pulled an earthquake. So I am forced to remove this from the game. And we can now move on to the next step. So check the city power, we haven't won yet. Check the calendar, it's just year 3, we have not lost yet. Dilapidate any unpowered neighborhoods. We managed to power 6, we lost 1, but we do not need to dilapidate any. So it is time to earn the rewards now. 1 money for that commercial district, 1 oil cube for the coal cube for the coal mine, another commercial district getting us money. The residential neighborhood is providing us labor again, and then our single oil refinery is giving us 2 oil resource cubes. So we didn't have any dilapidated neighborhoods that we powered, so we can skip that step. And we are on to spending goods. This time we had 3 money and 1 labor. And we once again have that spot open. But I'm going to try a different tack this time. I'm going to use that labor and this money. I'm going to build a neighborhood, and I'm going to build a technology park, like a science park. So this is going to go here, and I'm placing it in a zoned area with the lock icon, which means that this one will also have to be science eventually. And the science park gives us technology at the end of the year, so that's the good that we haven't explored yet. Then I have 2 more money, so I can decide what to do here. I think I'm going to keep buying cards, so I'm going to use this one to buy a card. And let's buy a solar, mostly so I can talk about what it does for us. And then let's buy a wind, also so we can just learn about what the cards in the game are like. Okay, so we would lose any unused labor and technology if we had any. Reset the water level, this one matters now. So we can now put the 2 resource cubes back up to the water level track. As this token increases, the water level increases. So we risk floods, but we also have more water to harness and create more energy cubes with. Shuffle the cards and reset the deck, and we will be able to begin our next year. So this year we're going to have 14 cards, so we only have 3 turns still. We're going to bury 2, but we do have some renewable energy cards in here, so there might be a way to make more energy without harming the planet, or without harming the city any further. Okay, so on to year 4, and we will start by drawing 4 cards. 2 oils and 2 coals. I think I'm going to do my standard, play an oil, get 2 terajoules, increase the pollution, play another oil, get 2 terajoules, increase the pollution, and then discard the 2 coal so that way we can store all 4 energy cubes. Draw 4 more. 3 coal and 1 wind. So we have not talked about wind yet. Wind is erratic. It is also based on a card play. You can see we have a die here. If we roll a 3 or higher on our starting power ratio, we get 1 energy cube. So I'm going to play this one, and you roll the die on every single card play. I only rolled a 2, so I did not get any energy from doing that. I'm going to discard all 3 of my coal cards to try to avoid that pollution bump. And this is my 3rd and final turn of the year, and you can see we have a lot of neighborhoods remaining to power. Okay, so I'm going to discard my oil because I don't have any cubes to take advantage of. And I'm going to end up playing all of these. So I'll just start with my hydro. Play my hydro. I'll take my 2 water cubes and create 1 terajoule. I'm going to play my nuclear and get 3 terajoules and up my nuclear use by 1. And let's see. I'm going to discard this one and not play it at all. And I am still able to power everything. When I send through, I would lose 1 to the grid and I should be able to power everything and then leave one in storage for the following year. So we buried 2 cards, we buried a solar and a coal, but once again we were able to power everything, and we didn't actually add any new disaster marbles to the bowl. So all in all, not a bad year. All right, so it is time to begin the year-end steps, beginning with the disaster marble draw. Oh no, another earthquake. Okay, so that's pretty unlucky. But again, an earthquake means that you immediately remove an oil refinery. So the bad news is I have no oil refineries, so I will not be generating any oil cubes. So I cannot produce energy that way. But the good news is I've now opened up a zoned area so I could build something else there, whereas before I had to build an oil refinery. So I'll choose to look at the bright side. Check the power, we haven't won yet. Check the calendar, we have not lost yet. Dilapidate any neighborhoods, well, we provided power everywhere, so it's time to earn the rewards. Money from the commercial district, a coal resource from our coal mine, another money from a different commercial district, a technology good from our science park, and a labor from our residential neighborhood. We did not have any dilapidated neighborhoods that we powered, so we can skip that step. Time to spend the goods. Different set of selections here. So once again, I do think that we probably need to start or continue building. We only have 5 neighborhoods in our city, and we are in the end of the 4th year. And again, to win, you need to have built and powered all 15 neighborhoods. So I'm going to spend money and labor to build another residential district. And I will place it here, meaning that I'll have to build one there. So eventually we'll have 3 in a row, keep all of our residential neighborhoods together, and then we can use these to earn more labor to build new neighborhoods in the future. And now I have 1 money and 1 science left, and I'm going to use this to buy a power ratio. So I'm going to spend it here to essentially upgrade one of my production facilities, so that way I can generate more energy on the same card play. And again, the ratios, first they tell you how many cubes to process on a given card play, and then how many terajoules that creates. So I can buy one from any of the 6 types of energy sources, and I think that I will buy one from wind. So currently, if we roll a 3, we get 1 cube. Now that I've bought this, if we roll a 3 or higher, we will get 2 energy cubes. So could be twice as good. Okay. Lose any unused goods. We've spent them all. Reset the water level. We can do so now. Shuffle the cards, and we are now moving into year 5. So we still only have 6 neighborhoods that we need to power, but I am getting worried that we are going to run out of time because we are not building fast enough. We've shuffled the deck, and we can now begin our 5th year. Year number 5. Draw 4 cards. Well, I can't play oil, so I will definitely discard that one. I am worried that I just don't have enough ways to make energy without playing my atomic card, so I'm going to play it, generate 3 terajoules, up my nuclear use, which will add another disaster marble to the bowl. And then I'm going to discard these 2 because I've got my maximum storage and I don't want to send them through yet. Turn 2, I will draw 4 cards. Solar, we haven't talked about this one yet. So solar, you can see, has a little icon to add a cube to the solar battery. So on a solar play, which I will do now, you add a cube to the solar battery here. And this is the only type of resource where we can store cubes and not actually send them through on a card play. So the next time we play solar, we can add a second one, and then we can turn those two into one energy cube. So this is more of a long play, but it can prove to be a boon with the right combination of setup here. So I've played that. Again, there's no negative consequence for doing that, so I'm just hedging my bets for later. And I think I'm going to discard all 3 of these coal cards again to try to avoid that pollution bump and stay with my max storage. So this is my last turn of the year. I've drawn 4 cards. I drew 2 oils, which is disappointing. I was hoping that those would be buried. I can play my hydro. So I will take these 2 water cubes, create 1, and then I will play my wind. So this could make or break me this year. Again, I need a 3 or higher, and if I take advantage of that power ratio, if I did get a 3 or higher, so now I get 2 energy cubes for that. And I can now send all these through. So I'll lose 1 to the grid. And now I will begin powering. And I had just enough power to provide power to every neighborhood in my city. And I ended up burying 2 coal, which we never used at all. So we did add a nuclear explosion marble to the bowl, but that is the only negative thing that we did this year. And we were able to provide power everywhere, so once again, all things considered, not a bad year. All right, it's time for the year-end steps, beginning with the disaster marble draw. Okay, it's yellow. So after a string of misfortune, finally something's going our way. Next up, we didn't win yet, but we also haven't lost yet. We did provide power everywhere, so nothing is dilapidated. It's time to earn rewards for providing power. Commercial gets us money. Coal mines gets us a coal resource. Commercial gets us more money. Labor times 2, and then the science park gives us a technology. We didn't have anything to reactivate, so it is now time to spend our goods. We have 2 labor, 2 money, and 1 science. So I am going to spend 1 labor and that science to fund a climate project. This isn't one that we've done yet. I can choose any of these 3, the standard climate projects with the white background. The custom ones you can see in the bottom right corner require an additional science, so that would cost me 2 science, which I do not have. So I can either upgrade my nuclear reactors, which would bring our nuclear use token down 1, increase my pollution threshold marker so I can move this out so I can generate more pollution without impacting the ozone. Or I can adjust the water level by 1. So if I was worried about floods, I could move it down. If I wanted more water to take advantage of, I could move it up. I am going to do the nuclear reactor because so far we've been relying pretty heavily on having that atomic card. So I'm going to move this down 1 by upgrading my nuclear reactor, so spending the science and the labor. Whenever you purchase one of these standard ones, you either add or remove a cube. So here we add because there wasn't one, and now the next time we want to do that same project, it'll cost us an additional science. So these 2 still just cost a technology and a labor. This one costs 2 technology and 1 labor because it's got the cube on there. Okay, I can then spend some more goods. So let's see, I think I'm going to end up buying 2 cards. So I'm going to use both of my monies to buy cards, and I'm going to buy another wind because we updated our power ratio for wind, and I'm going to buy another atomic because we upgraded our nuclear reactors for atomic. So now we have 16 cards in our hand, and we'll get 4 turns every year. Okay, it's time to lose unused labor and technology. We used all of our technology, but we didn't use this labor, so these residents will go and find employment elsewhere, and we have to return it to the supply. Reset our water level, so we can take advantage of that hydro card next year. Shuffle the cards, and we can begin the new year. So year 6 will give us 4 turns because we have 16 cards. We won't be burying any, and we still only have 6 neighborhoods that we have to provide power for. On to year 6. Just gonna give it one final shuffle. Okay. So I'm drawing my 4 cards. I've still got these 2 oil that I can't do anything with, so I will discard those. I'm gonna play this wind card and roll my dice. It is above 3, so I get my 2 terajoules. And since I didn't build any buildings, I'm not too worried about being able to power everything, so I will discard my coal and again continue avoiding that pollution bump, at least for now. 4 more cards. I'm gonna start by playing the wind. Another good roll, so I'll get 2 more cards. Definitely discarding my oil because I don't have anything. I'm gonna discard the coal, and it's essentially a free nuclear play, but I also have another nuclear card coming later, so I'm just gonna wait and leave my maximum storage here. 4 more cards. I'm gonna continue getting rid of my coals. So my solar, I now once again place a cube in my solar on this play, and then now I can turn these 2 into 1. So I'm done there. And then my hydro, I can take my water level cubes and turn them into 1 terajoule. And now I do need to send it through or else I would lose cubes. So I will put 1 in the grid, send the rest through. And you can see I have 1 remaining neighborhood to power, but I do have a 4th turn now because I bought 2 cards. So these are my 4 final cards. And I'm going to play my nuclear. So I will up my nuclear use token, and I will generate 3 terajoules here. And then I'm going to play 1 coal. I'm gonna finally bite the bullet and do it. Play 1 resource of coal to get 1 terajoule. Update my pollution, which will increase my ozone, which will increase my temperature. And here's something new that we haven't seen yet. As I increase my temperature, it lands next to a water icon, which means the temperature has gotten high to the point where it is melting the solar ice caps, and so the water level raises. So I'm increasing my water level as well. So that was why I kept waiting and trying to avoid that pollution bump, but finally bit the bullet. I'm gonna discard these last 2 because now I have 4 terajoules. I'll lose, oh sorry, I meant to play 1. I'm gonna play 1, retconning that. So there's 1 more, 1 more, 1 more. Okay, so I lose 1 to the grid, I can power, and then I can use these 3 to get 1 money. And that concludes the turns of year 6. On to the year end steps. We have the disaster marble draw. What do we get? A neutral marble. Love to see it. We have not won yet. We have not lost yet. We powered everything. Time to earn our goods. Another money, another technology, 1 coal resource, 1 more money, and then 2 labor. We did not have any dilapidated neighborhoods, so we can now spend our goods. This time we've got 2 labor, 3 money, 1 technology. So what do we want to actually do on our turn? We desperately need to start building. We are halfway done with the calendar track, and we have essentially only built 2 neighborhoods. We still need to build 9 more neighborhoods. So I'm going to spend a labor and a money to build another residential neighborhood. I will place it here in this zoned area. And I think that I have to continue doing that. I don't think that there is a better strategy. So I'm going to spend my final labor and an additional money to build another neighborhood. And this time I'm going to build an additional science park. And I'll place it here. And we have 1 money, 1 technology left. So I think it would make sense to buy another power ratio upgrade. And I am going to buy a hydro one. So I can place that here, and we are done spending goods. We did not leave any technology or labor around, so we didn't lose anything. We can reset the water level. Now when we reset the water level, since the token has advanced, we add 3 cubes. And it's time to shuffle our deck and begin year 7. Okay, so into the 7th year. Again, we're going to get 4 turns, and we will see all of our cards because we have 16 cards exactly, and that's it. Now we do have 2 more neighborhoods that we need to power this year. We should be okay, but it is something to think about. Okay, so let's begin. 4 cards. Still have no oil. I am worried about energy this year, so I think I'm going to play both of my coal cards. So I will turn 1 into a Terajoules, up the pollution, and then turn the other one into a Terajoules, up the pollution. So this goes up 1. And then I'll store both of those. 4 more cards. Let's start with the wind. A 5, lucky us. So we get 2 Terajoules. And I think I want to maximize storage again. So I'm going to discard everything else. 4 cards. Wind. A 3. Skirting the edges, but still we generated 2 energy cubes for that. Oil we can't do anything with. I'm going to play my nuclear, so I get 3 Terajoules, and I update the nuclear use track because I played my atomic. And this, once again, will add another nuclear explosion marble to the disaster bag. And because I'm basically maxing out, trying to send as much through as possible, I'm going to go ahead and play my coal card here. So I increased the pollution, coal for a Terajoule, and now I'm going to lose 1 to the grid, and it is time to start powering all these neighborhoods in our city. And we succeeded, so I guess I shouldn't have played the coal because I left it here anyways. So that's my mistake. And then on the final turn, I'm going to play the hydro to take 2 of these cubes to get 2 cubes since we've upgraded our ratio. Going to play the solar to add 1 solar to the battery. And let's spend 1 coal to turn this coal into a terajoule, increase the pollution. I'll discard this one, and then we can send these through and get 1 money by selling it to a neighboring city. So we were actually able to easily power everything, but I guess it's because we used coal so aggressively. And we now have an additional disaster marble in the bag, so we're looking at 7 neutrals and 4 disasters. Still not aggressively too bad, but we have a lot of building to do if we want to win this game. On to the year-end steps, beginning with our disaster marble draw. Another neutral. Add that to the calendar track. We have not won the game, we have not lost the game. We powered everything successfully again, so it is time to earn rewards. So I'm going to just take the 2 commercial ones, add those. The coal mine gives us 1 coal resource. We have 3 labor this time. And we have 2 science, a lot of rewards to look at. We didn't have any dilapidated neighborhoods, so it's time to spend those goods. Now we've got 3 labor, 3 money, 2 technology. Like I said, we've got a lot of building left to do, and I think this is actually a good moment to talk about the city map that we're looking at here. You notice I've been avoiding these 5 icons every time I build. When we build in those given plots of land, they are more challenging pieces of property. So here, this costs us 1 additional money to build. So it would cost us 2 money and 1 labor. This one costs us 1 additional labor. So it would cost us 1 money and 2 labor. This one is difficult to get power lines to. So when we build, we would lose any storage, any cubes in our storage. We don't have any currently, so it would be a great time to build there right now. And then these 2 are big. This is when the game really ratchets up. When you build in one of these 2 plots, that represents the threshold for city expansion. At this point, being able to power everything in your city, once you've built in one of these, you will lose more energy cubes through the grid. So if we build here, for example, we would put this energy loss tile here, and now whenever we send energy cubes through to the power grid, we have to hold back 2 instead of just the 1. So not only are you powering more neighborhoods, but you're losing more energy as you're doing so. Well, like I said, it's a great place to build right there. So I'm going to take 1 money, 1 labor, and I'm going to build another commercial district. I built it here. So that is the first thing I'm doing. The next thing I'm doing is I'm going to spend 1 money and 2 technology, and I'm going to buy a major upgrade. So the yellow power ratio tiles cost an additional technology, but I'm going to do that now, and I am going to buy this wind. So now anytime we roll a 3 or above, we get 3 energy cubes instead of just the 2. So now we've fully maxed out wind. And then finally, I think I'm going to build in this difficult plot of land. So I'm going to spend my 1 money and my 2 labor, and I'm going to build another residential neighborhood up here. So we've spent all of our goods, we've spent all of our goods so we don't lose any. We can reset the water level. I just did that off screen. And now we can shuffle our cards, reset the deck, and begin year 8. So this year we now need to power 10 neighborhoods, and we have 4 turns to do so because we still have 16 cards in our deck. So I will begin the year by drawing 4 cards per usual, and I will discard my oil because I still don't have any oil refineries. I think I need the nuclear, so I'm going to play it to get 3 terajoules, up my nuclear use, and add one more disaster to the disaster bag. You can see the next time we update our nuclear use, we're adding 2 marbles at once. So that might be one of the last times that you see me play that. And I do think that I will end up playing a coal card, so I can get 1 terajoule, maximize my storage. It will increase the pollution, which will increase the temperature, which will add a wildfire disaster to the bowl. So you can see we're kind of playing with fire here, pun intended, I suppose. And I'm gonna put all 4 of those in storage. Okay, next turn, draw 4. Can't do anything with these oils. Don't seem to be shuffling those together well. I'm going to play my wind. Hopefully, oh, I rolled a 1. So I do not get anything from wind, so I'm not gonna play any coal because I'll just keep my storage together. 4 more cards. I can start by playing my solar, which will get me 1. And I'll discard a coal, and I think I will play both of these coals. So I'll play 1 to get 1 terajoule, increase the pollution, and then I will play the other one to get 1 more terajoule, increase the pollution. I should send these through, so I will put 1 on the grid, and I will begin powering. And I'm a little worried about dilapidation here, because this is our final turn. We need to generate 5 energy cubes. So let's start with hydro. We can take 2 and create 2. Then let's play wind. This could do it. It did it. We rolled a 4. Since we super maxed our production plant here, we get 3. So now I don't need to play coal and pollute the planet, and I don't need to play nuclear and add 2 disaster marbles to the bag. So I will put 1 in the grid, and then I can use the other 4 to fully power my city. And that is the end of year 8. So year-end steps, it's disaster marble time. We've got pretty rough ratio here. We've got, let's see, 6 to 6. So we have a 50% chance of pulling a disaster, but we did not pull one. Okay, we have not won the game yet. We have not lost the game yet. We powered everything successfully, so let's earn some goods. I'm gonna start by taking my commercial money, and then I'll take my residential labor, and then I will take my technology, and we get 1 coal resource. Okay, so we didn't have any dilapidated neighborhoods. We're on to spend goods. We got 4 labor, 3 money, 2 technology. All right. Wow, should we spend these goods? What should we do? I think the first thing I'm going to do is build here. So I will have to put this energy loss tile there, and this has to be a science park because it's a zoned neighborhood. So I will take 1 money and 1 labor to build a science park. And while I do now lose energy, I have unlocked a spot where I can now build without any penalties moving forward. So I think that I want to upgrade my what do I want to upgrade? I think I want to upgrade my hydro. So to the max, I'm going to take 2 technology and 1 money to upgrade my hydro fully. So now I'll get 3 energy cubes on that play. And then we've got a lot of leftover labor on 1 money still. So I'm gonna build an oil refinery. It is gonna risk fracking, but fracking earthquake, but I do think that I'm gonna need this towards the end of the game to have any chance to win. Okay, so then we're gonna lose 2 labor because we did not build efficiently. But what we've got here is we've got 4 labor and 3 empty spots. So we should be able to build even if we have a disaster and we need to renovate on top of a single tile. So we should be okay there. It's just a matter of being able to power everything. Reset the water level. Shuffle the cards and reset the deck and begin a new year. So we still only have 4 turns. We've got 2 more neighborhoods we have to power. All right, let's see if we can do it. And I think we might be adding those disaster marbles in for the atomic. Okay, so here's 4. Gonna start with my wind. It was a 4, so we get 3 there. I'm then gonna play my hydro to take 2 and get 3 more. So I'm definitely sending them through. So I think I'm gonna play my coal, turn 1 coal into 1 terajoule, add the pollution, which will increase this, which does indeed increase the heat. So that increases the water, or sorry, it's skipping a step here. Okay, so that increases the heat, which increases the water level. So we add our first flood disaster in here, but we do have more water next year. And then I'll discard this one. And now I have to leave 2 back in the grid as I begin powering my city. I'm gonna power a little bit more strategically because I do think that I might run out of power, or run out of energy before the year is over. Okay, 4 more cards. This could be disastrous. We actually only have 1 coal card, or 1 coal resource cube left. I will use it now to get 1 terajoule. And I'm going to have to play this one to get 3. Update my nuclear use by 1, add 2 nuclear explosions to the bowl and discard this one. And then I can store all 4 of these. Okay, 4 more cards. Can't do anything with these 3. Can add 1 cube to the solar panel, or solar battery. And then on the final turn here, can't do anything with these 3. I don't think I want to do anything with this one. But I need to, because I have so many neighborhoods left. So I'm going to have to. I'm going to play it, get 3 terajoules, but add 2 more. Oh boy, okay. Lose 2 to the grid. And then I'll play all of these, and I was just able to power everything. It was a little bit of a disastrous year, because if we take a look at this disaster bowl here, we've got quite a mess we're gonna have to deal with, but such is life. And I actually wasn't able to power everything. I do have a science park here that went unpowered, so we'll see what dilapidation looks like this year. First though, we draw from the disaster bag. Can't imagine we're gonna have any luck here. Wow, shocking. We are still safe. Okay, check the city power, we haven't won yet. Check the calendar, we haven't lost yet. Dilapidate any unpowered neighborhood. So we do have a science park here that is unpowered, so we rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise, and it now has the gray bar on top, meaning it is dilapidated. We did not provide power for it this year, so we don't get any rewards for it. We do, however, get the rewards for all the other neighborhoods. So I will add my labor and then the technology that the science parks that I did power. Oh, I didn't power this one either. So we dilapidated a couple here. And then 1 coal, and then 2 oil. Welcome back, oil. Okay. Well, we didn't have any dilapidated neighborhoods at the beginning of the year, so we can skip that step again, but we'll see it next year. And we can now spend our goods. So we have 4 labor, 2 money, 2 science. So not the best setup. Probably would have powered that commercial district had I realized that I was dilapidating it by accident, but that's okay. So what we are going to spend money on now, we don't have any way of playing Atomic without having an automatic natural disaster because we have maxed out that track. So I do think that it's going to be worth it for me to spend 2 science and 1 money to once again upgrade my nuclear reactors. So I can move that down 1, which will give us 1 free science play next, 1 free atomic play next year. And now we have money and labor. We're going to end up losing 3 labor, unfortunately, but we can spend a money and a labor and we can renovate. So we can build on top of one of these dilapidated neighborhoods. That one we would have to build a science on top of. This one we could build anything we wanted on top of. So let's go ahead and just build a science on top of a science. So I will remove that from the game and build a science. Renovating, by the way, is when you're building on top of a dilapidated neighborhood. So when the gray bar is on top. So I didn't actually build 3 new neighborhoods. I did not build 3 neighborhoods where we needed them. So it's still going to take us a couple years to potentially win or more likely lose. Okay. So we lost our 3 labor. I got ahead of myself there. Reset the water level so we can move that up. So there are now 4 cubes, but we only have 1 water card. Shuffle our cards and reset the deck and begin a new year. So let's try all that again. Four cards. Start with the hydro. We can take 2, generate 3 terajoules. Let's roll our die. Roll the 6. So we get our 3. And now we could actually take advantage of either one of these. So we're going to have to send them through anyway. So I'm going to play my first oil to get 2. And then I'll discard this one. So lose 2 to the grid, and let's make sure that we power our commercial districts, and then we can start powering our residential districts as well. And that was a pretty good first turn. Second turn of the year. Let's play our solar. So we can add another, and then we can send 2 through to get 1 terajoule. Okay. Let's play. So here on this track, if we go up again, then we're going to up our temperature by 2, which is going to add. I don't know if it's worth it for these, so I'm going to discard all of them. Next turn, I'm going to play my free atomic for 3. Move that back up. And now let's see, what do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we would need 4 more energy cubes, which I think we can get on the next turn. So I'm gonna discard all of these. And play my wind. That helps a lot. So I play 3. And so I think I'm gonna leave 1 dilapidated as opposed to upping my temperature by 2. So that marks the end, or I guess I have to do this. So I put 2 in there. I'm gonna power a couple science parks. I'm gonna power everything except for the coal mine, and that marks the end of the year. Okay, so the year is over. We didn't actually add any new disaster marbles in, but we do have a lot of disaster marbles that we're going to be choosing from. And we're going to be choosing from that disaster pool right now. Unbelievably, it's a neutral marble. So no punishments for us just yet. Okay, check city power, we did not win. Check the calendar, we haven't lost, but we're getting close. Dilapidate unpowered neighborhoods. That would be this coal mine right here. Now earn the rewards for everything else that's powered. So I'll take my labor first. We get 4 labor. I will take my science parks next for technology. I will take my commercial next for money. And then I'll take my oil refinery to get 2 oil resource cubes. Next, activate any dilapidated neighborhoods that you provided power for. So this is the first time we've done that, but this was a dilapidated neighborhood this year. We provided power for it. So the reward for doing so is to activate it. We don't get the money, but now we can take advantage of that neighborhood next year. Now spend the goods. So what are we looking at here? We've got 4 labor, 2 money, 3 technology. It does seem like we desperately need to use atomic to win, or to be able to power our city. So I'm going to spend a technology and a labor to once again fund an upgrade to our nuclear reactors and lower that. That's the first thing I will do. The next thing I will do is spend a labor and a money to renovate. I'm going to build on top of this coal mine here, and I'm going to build a commercial district. So now we have more money. And then the next thing I'm going to do is buy a hydro card. Desperately need one of those, so I will add this to my deck because then we can get 3 additional energy since the water level is high enough. And now it looks like we can do a couple extra things here. We could either increase our storage or, so these, I haven't talked about these custom ones. This one will increase our storage and our generator, so we could have 5 instead of 4. And this one allows us to trade 2 of some good for 1 of another good. I am super low on money, so I'm gonna end up buying this one. So I'm gonna spend 2 technology and 1 labor to buy this. And now this is just a lasting effect for the rest of the game. I am able to use this market trade capability to trade 2 of 1 good for 1 of any other good. Okay, I now lose any unused labor technology. Sadly done. Reset the water level, back up to 4 cubes, shuffle my deck and reset. And it is time to begin the next year. We will be burning a card this time because I bought a hydro card, so we'll have 17 cards. Again, I didn't end up building any new neighborhoods because I didn't have the money to build there and I didn't have the guts to add another energy loss. portion to our city, but we are going to have to build all 3 of those spots at the conclusion of this year, or else we're going to run out of time and lose the game. So here we go. Just finish shuffling, begin the next year, and let's draw our 4 cards and kick this thing off. Okay, so my hydro, I will play, so I'll take 2 from the water level, which gives me 3 terajoules. I know I've got another atomic coming, so I think I'm going to discard this one, and no, let's go for it. So I'll play it, I'll get 3 more, bump that up to the max, and I'll play my 1 coal to get 1 final terajoule. Bump this up, bump that up twice, so we add 1 wildfire disaster and we raise the water level 1. Okay. 4 more. Oh, sorry, I didn't see those. Don't worry. I gotta do something with these cubes. I'm gonna fund all my commercial districts first and then start my labor. Okay. All right, next turn. I'm going to play an oil, increase the pollution, get 2 terajoules. I'm going to play a solar, add 1 to the solar panel, and I won't play anything else. I'll discard both of those. Okay, next turn. Okay, I can't play this one or else I have an automatic nuclear explosion. Wind. This is what's gonna determine how this game goes. It was a 3, don't know if that was on camera or not. So we get 3, 1 more. It was a 4, so we get 3 more. And I'm gonna play my oil, get 2 more, increase the pollution. Okay, so we lose 2 to the grid. Power, 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 and I will leave that there. Okay, final turn. I am going to play my water, use my last 2 hydro cubes to get 3, and keep everything, or discard everything else. So we buried a coal. Okay, and then I'm gonna just store these for the final year of the game. So we are on to drawing a marble from the bowl. This is crazy. You guys won't believe me, but I'm truly not looking in the bowl. So we didn't have any issues there. Okay, check the city power. We have not won the game yet. Check the calendar. We're into our final year. We didn't dilapidate anything. We fully powered everything. So now we get our goods. So I'll start with my oil. Here is our commercial. We have 4 of those. Then our technology, we have 3 of those. Then our labor, we have 4 of those. Okay, didn't have any dilapidated neighborhoods this time, so now it's on to spending the goods. So this is really where we need to decide what to do. Obviously we have to build in 3 places, so we're going to need to reserve 3 labor and 4 money for that. So I guess we should just go ahead and start with that. So 3 labor, 4 money. The reason I say 4 money is because this one will be 2 money and 1 labor. So we'll do that first. Build a commercial district there for 2 money, 1 labor. money into labor, we will build, we're gonna have to build coal mines actually, because those are the only things that we have duplicates of in the zoned area. So the first one we will build here, and we need to add our energy tile. So now we're going to be losing 3. And then the second one, there. Okay. So now we do have this card, so we could trade 2 science to get something else if we wanted to. If we felt like there was a better way to spend the money than we're currently spending it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend a labor and a science to push out the pollution threshold marker 1, so that way we can spend a little bit more. I'm then going to trade these 2 for 1 money. And with this 1 money, I'm gonna buy disaster relief. So disaster relief doesn't have icons on this board because this isn't the newest version, but this will give us the ability to roll a die to prevent a natural disaster. So I'm gonna place this up here, indicating that if I roll a 6, because 1 money will buy me 1. So if I roll a 6, I prevent a natural disaster, in just hopes that I have the ability to make it to the final year and then maybe roll a dice to win the game. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so we spent all of our goods, so we don't lose anything. We do need to reset the water level, and this goes up to 5 now. Shuffle our cards, reset the deck, begin a new year. So this is our final year, because no matter what, we either win, we've fully powered our city, or we lose because we place a disaster marble there. So to explain a little bit about what's going to happen here, first we have to power all 15 neighborhoods in our city. If we do that successfully, then we draw a disaster marble. If it is a disaster, then we fulfill the consequences, so we would lose the game. But with our disaster relief, if we can roll a 6 to avoid losing the game, then we win the game. So there's a number of ways we can lose, only a small margin of error for victory here though. Okay, let's do it. Final year. Draw 4 cards. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my solar, add 1 to the battery, turn that into 1. I cannot play my atomic because that would be an automatic disaster. I'm going to play my oil, and that'll give us 2. And, whoops, then I'm going to play my other oil, and that'll give us 2 more. And that does increase the ozone, which increases this by 2, which adds 3 more disaster marbles to the mix and raises the water level twice. Oh boy. Which adds 3 flood marbles. So we're absolutely having a disaster at the end of the year. So the question is, can we power everything? Okay, so lose 3 to the grid and begin powering. Okay. 4 more cards. Don't have any coal. First hydro, we'll take these 2, and we'll get 3 terajoules. Whoops. And then we have to discard that one. Next one, a wind. Come on. Not a good roll. Next card, a wind. Come on. Not a good roll. We are in some serious trouble here, folks. And then my last hydro. So that'll give me 6. So I'm gonna lose 3 to the grid, and then I can power 3. So this is it. Oh no. Okay, well, I think we lost. We can turn this one into 2. And we can't do anything with these, and that's it. That's the game. So basically we would have to dilapidate those 6. It was because we had some bad rolls with the wind die. So doesn't really matter what happens here, because no matter what, we're going to end up at check the calendar, even if we get past the disaster. So we lose the game. So that's a quick look into Terajoules, designed by Amos Kendall, Carrie Ross, and Kevin Preval, with art and graphic design by Kevin Preval. It is part of the 2020 Solitaire PnP Contest going on Board Game Geek. And it's still in the components available phase, which means there's still some new pieces being added, some rules being adjusted, some balance that the group's working on. The biggest thing yet to come is objective cards. So this is the base game, and the win condition and the loss conditions exist right now will be built upon with objective cards. So things that change the starting conditions, things that change the win conditions, and then some things that change some mid-game play. So each game will have a ton of variety. But for now, thanks for watching.